welcome back to the number one podcast here in Liverpool. We're joined by Dean Garnett today. So, Dean, you have been on the podcast before. This is now your second appearance. But for those people who didn't watch the first, just give us a brief background on who you are, where you're from, and what it is you do.
Yeah, so born and raised in Speke. Lived in Liverpool my whole life, bar a few years in Australia when I was a kid. But I'm essentially an athlete. I'm a coach, but I'd like to think I'm a social entrepreneur as well. The businesses that I'm involved in are a lot about promoting youth development and propelling our young people at a time when I think it's our time to be young. So that's sort of my background, and to be honest, I probably would say it's fair to call me an anti-vaccine activist or whatever you want to call it. I'd say that's been a big part of me sort of identity over the last 10 years as well, and obviously the first podcast was very much about the vaccine agenda is what I'll call it. So yeah,
so like obviously the first podcast we talked heavily about the vaccine, but we were talking a little bit about politics, and then obviously off camera, like over text messages, we talked about the state of the country, and even from the time that you were first on to the time now, like things have got progressively worse. So obviously today we decided to go more into the sort of immigration and the state of the UK.
Yeah.
So each bit we go through, I'll sort of read you some stats, and then we'll go from there, and we'll get both of our takes on it. So first of all, I'd like to start with undocumented immigration. So from the 31st of October in March in the last year, 94,000 asylum seekers were recorded in government-provided accommodations. This was approximately 58,000 of them being adult men. So 52% of which, so around 30,000 are undocumented. So I don't know what your definition is, but there's been a lot of talk on social media about possible invasions. We've seen it in Morocco, we've seen it around different parts of Europe. So is the UK being invaded?
I think so. It looks like it is, doesn't it? I mean, was the 700 came in one day the other day? I think it was the most ever. Pretty sure there was. But yeah, even if it was over a week, however you wanna break it down, I think that's exactly what it is. And I think the scariest thing for me is that some of these men, mostly men, aren't they, coming in, are from cultures that really don't align with ours, and we have no idea if they're criminals. Like, I was watching a video with a Moroccan politician talking to a Spanish politician or Spanish media, and he kind of said, yeah, like, half of them who flee Morocco are just criminals, and it's a bit of an unwritten rule, but we're all right with that because they're out of our hair, essentially. So what's motivating some of these people to make the trip is what concerns me. Like, are they fleeing justice? Don't get me wrong, I am a humanitarian, and I feel for people because the world's broken by design. But you know that saying, you can't give from an empty cup. So if we want to help the third world, I really don't think we can do it by flooding the third world into the UK at rates that just don't make sense. Don't save the national population, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like when it first started happening, I remember it came on to about 2019, like that's when it first started happening. We were hearing about these small boats coming over. 2020, it was getting worse. And I remember specifically that one of the first things that got said was that, well, it's mainly like women and children refugees, and you just said it then, like it's majority men. And I had a stat here that I was reading the other day that I remember reading a long time ago. It's 75% on average of the small boats military-aged young men. So why do you always think that it's the military-age young men over actual women and children, like it's reported to us that it is?
So I think there's two things that we need to discuss today in terms of like immigration. So you've got immigration, which is usually legal immigration, which I think needs to be reviewed massively for the benefit of the native population and real British people. But then we've also got this other thing that we're talking about now, which is this illegal invasion of men who are then put into hotels. I think it ranges somewhere from 52 to 65k a year to house them, but it doesn't make no sense. They're illegal. So what's the point in having a border if there's no repercussions for crossing it? Do you know what I mean? In most places that's a jailable offence. I remember googling it the other day, and it said you can get jail or deported here, or even if you're aiding and abetting these illegals, you can get up to life in prison. Which is obviously a joke because the government is actively facilitating this, and it just doesn't add up. I genuinely believe there's something going on, and there's an agenda behind this. And my biggest worry is that at some point these people being brought in now are somehow going to be weaponised on the local population. I'm not trying to fearmonger, that's just my concerns. Doesn't make sense to me. The people in government aren't altruistic. They don't care about anybody, in my opinion. So they don't care about these individuals. These individuals are getting here through gangs. They're being trafficked by gangs, and it's not cheap. And they're not paying for it themselves. Who's paying for it? This stuff's like, it's nefarious.
So you're saying like they're almost going to be weaponised against us? How would they?
I don't know, but like I've seen reports that like some of these, that the UK government's worried Iran sending in, some of their undercover operatives and agents, and who knows? I think most of it, they've all got the same leaders at the very top. Do you know what I mean? At the very top, the globalists, they seem to fuel both sides. But let's say this goes on for another 5 years, right? How many illegals would be floating around the country? I believe we've only got, I did Google this a while ago, but I think there's more illegals than soldiers on UK soil.
Yeah.
So if it carries on and carries on and carries on, and then there was some sort of mass coordinated terror attack, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I believe the army's, I think it's just over 80,000, isn't it?
Yeah, so there's more illegals.
So there's 94,000 asylum seekers. Obviously, not all of them would be military age men, but if it's going off 75% of them, that's about 80,000, isn't it? 75%.
Yeah, and that's just for 1 year, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not, so if you add it all up, and then we've got race wars essentially. I just don't know how that'll pan out.
Yeah, I did see a video and it was talking about the police and like a thing that we're going to go into later about DEI of like, why is the police hiring so many
hundreds of millions of pounds spent on it as well,
literally, and they're hiring so many illegal immigrants. And some guys like had a theory and he said that, well, it's because that like one day like these people aren't us. So like right now, if the UK police were given extreme orders to do certain things, it'd be quite hard to do because they're doing it on their own people.
Like one of the things I worry is force vaccinating us.
Yeah, whereas if you ask illegal immigrants who come here and they're not part of the culture, but they're now a policeman, they would have no problem carrying out the orders. And it wasn't completely out of question to have a theory like that of why, first of all, why so many illegals are coming, and then second of all, why so many people are being hired through DEI into the police and into like sort of
civil
higher
servants.
jobs. Yeah, civil servants, exactly. But one thing that stood out to me as well was Europe recently came out and said that Ukrainian men, especially who are fleeing war, are no longer welcome to the UK. Like the UK are going to send them back to where they are, and I didn't understand that because I thought, well, obviously they come in illegally, which I'm not saying that they should be fleeing war illegally, whatever. But why are we sending them back? But then anyone else who comes over from another ethnic background
that maybe isn't even a war zone.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And then we'll put them up in a hotel, give them a phone, and give them access to food and all that type of
free
stuff.
money.
Free money.
It's just insane, isn't it?
It's absolutely ridiculous.
You've got to look at the bigger picture to really grasp what's going on. I don't get how anyone just takes the narrative as it's presented anymore. It's like it's absolutely busting at the seams. Like how anyone can think that this is all happening organically. Yeah. It's beyond me. Have you seen them videos of the Ukrainian men being like kidnapped? Have you not seen that?
Oh yeah, no, where they throw him in back of cars and stuff.
I've seen one where he's driving with his family in the car and they're trying to pull him over and his kids are screaming in the car and then they finally like box him in and drag him out the car and take him.
I have seen a few like that and like they throw them into back of cars.
It's insane, isn't it?
I think I seen one. He was walking his dog.
And then what are they doing now though? Because the labour force has gone. They're importing immigrants to combat the loss of life. Yeah. So yeah, it's a joke, really. Yeah. It looks like Europe's being decline. It's going through a serious managed decline on purpose, and I think the end goal is to create almost a global third world. I think that's what the end goal is from the elite.
Because obviously we'll come back to the illegal side, but even the legal side, people are getting a lot of flack online, politicians, whoever's sort of saying that even the legal side needs to sort of take a bit of a back step and we need to review it, we need to pause it, all that type of stuff. And usually it's the left wingers saying, no, like what's going on? Why are we stopping? Like we're built on immigration, which a lot of the stuff, obviously like the NHS and things like that, are helped out by legal immigration, but it needs to be controlled. So I'll just read you some quick stats. So from 2019, every number I read out will be the following year. So in 2019, 184,000 people. This is people who have migrated legally to the UK. So 2019 it was 184,000. Then it was 93,000 the following year, 488,000 the following year, 764,000, 944,000, 649,000, 204,000. Wow. So in 7 years, that's 3 million people, which means that that's a 4.5 population increase. Now, whether that's legal, but even still, can any country keep up with that sort of immigration over the space of 7 years?
No, not if they want to retain their own culture. I think it's impossible. I just don't see how that can be justified. Like, I've just had to get a work visa for the States, and it's cost me a couple of grand. I've had a police caution when I'm 18, so I've had to do all extra tests, and like a caution 20 years ago, and I've had to go to London 3 times, be interviewed, and I'm not against that. I'm saying that's right. If I'm going to go and work in a foreign land, then surely it needs to be vetted, needs to be safe. They need to know I'm not going to stay, and that makes sense to me. So why is it the other way around? I just feel like we've got proper double standards. Like, I'm team Palestine for the Palestinians, but why not Britain for the Brits? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, soon as we say, like, any European or Western nation is for them, for the West, then it's like, whoa, you're racist, you're a bigot. But everyone else is allowed self-determination. We're just not, because, like, colonialism, like, just these stupid one-liners. But I don't walk. Well, I probably did. I think I used to carry guilt for being white without really noticing it.
Especially after the Black Lives Matter thing.
It's took me. Well, I was probably on it a little bit before that, but it's took a couple of years of getting my head around this to, like, get rid of it and break free from it, because in school you're taught about things that don't really present Europeans in a good light. We should be taught about them things, but we should be taught about other things as well. So, you know, we all remember from school, we had the transatlantic slave trade. Yeah. The version I got of that was just the European version. American civil rights movement, you know, again, white people, and the black people, and how we mistreated them. And then you've obviously got the Holocaust, Germanic, the Germans committing genocide. And I spent most of my life thinking that's like the only big global genocide there's ever been. It was us. Yeah. But actually there's been multiple. But you're not taught about them. It's like the education system's like hyper focused on anything that's, you know, negative that we've done as a people. Whereas actually, if you give us a fair crack of the whip, we've added so much to the world. You've got people now saying we've got no culture, or even that white people aren't a race. But we are a collection of European tribes, and we've contributed a lot to societies, haven't we? Or the global society.
British Empire, we got rid of slavery.
Well, yeah, that's a great point, isn't it? And again, like, just looking at some of the other slave trades, not it can sound wrong saying this, and I'm not trying to deflect from the transatlantic slave trade, but there was lots of other slave trades that were worse in terms of the
Barbary slave trade. I only learned about that a few years ago.
I only learned about it about 6 months ago. I don't know, but it's mad.
No,
no. I pride myself on being well read and well informed on things, and I go, well, I've never heard of that. So there was the Barbary slave trade. Something I seen recently was a video. There's a big monument in Belgium about the Arab slave trade, and the wokies have like chiseled off the bit where it says Arab slavers, like, but the government did it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, but why? Yeah. It's not offensive to Arabs. They probably don't even care. Yeah. There would have been some white liberals who were like, get that off. The Arabs were like, yeah, we had a slave trade, and what? Like, everyone's had one, haven't they? Everyone's had one, haven't they? Yeah. Like, name a civilization off the top of your head that didn't partake in some sort of oppression or enslaving people. It's gone on since recorded history. As far as Babylon, you go right back to Mesopotamia, right back to the furthest depths of the Bible, slavery's present.
I'd say the first two businesses ever created was slavery and prostitution. Like, there was the oldest businesses
I wouldn't
to exist.
Yeah, I wouldn't deny that. There was a particularly gruesome place in West Africa called Dahomey. Have you heard about Dahomey?
No.
Wow, so bad that the way they did it there. So this was going on long before any Europeans turned up to West Africa. These were African tribes doing it to other African tribes, and this particular city or civilization called Dahomey, they would have a festival every year where they'd slaughter like 300 to 500 slaves from nearby tribes. And I think at one point the guy put a boat on a pool of blood. Like so it's not like it was just, in my head, it was just us. We just did it. Do you know what I mean? And then no wonder some of these lefties are such, they're so against the West, because when you look at life through a Marxist lens, everything's about the oppressor versus the oppressed, and you know, you leave school going, wow, white man's the oppressor, we're oppressors, we're racist, we're horrible, we're evil. And then that makes sense why we've got such a self-loathing population who cares more about foreign interest than their own.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like opinion. I've never really seen opinions change so much. Again, I'm only 30. Well, I'm not even 30 yet, but opinions are like have changed so much. Even in the last 10 years, like I can't even, like, what was a normal thing to say 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, now you're like, a radical.
You're a radical. Yes. Yeah. So like why are like ordinary concerns such as, like, whether it's legal immigration or illegal immigration, if you have a concern about it and say like, oh, like, you know, this shouldn't be happening at the rate it is, why is that immediately deemed far right?
Well, I just think the truth fears no investigation, does it? Do you know what I mean?
Again,
the truth fears no investigation. Yeah. So if something's morally right and is truthful, then people discussing it is never a problem. What are the things we can't discuss in society? What's taboo right now? Immigration's like taboo, isn't it? Vaccines. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same type of rhetoric and the same type of manipulation and social engineering that I think anyway. And we just have these topics where one side of the debate just is so emotionally charged to even raise a concern. You're just hateful. You're a bigot. Like, I just laugh at some of it because it's so ridiculous. Like, surely one of the things that made Western civilization great was like dialogue and free speech, and I think that's definitely something that's propelled us as a civilization, as a European civilization, the ability to have open dialogue. And now we're going further and further away from that, and obviously, you know, the people on the left particularly really love the idea of like socialism and communism, and that's the way the government is now. I think the institutions are very left-leaning. So when everyone's so far left, you say anything that's not left-leaning, you're far right. But it's their moved.
Yeah, like
where I haven't changed my... If you ask me in 2010, should we just let people in, like men in on boats from like Sudan and Eritrea and just all places in sub-Saharan Africa and the Middle East and North Africa? I'd say no. And I'd say the same today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The Overton window has just shifted so far that it's now you're abnormal if you say anything against it or what they're saying.
Especially the young people, isn't it? I've seen like the rates of like people who are leaving uni now, how heavily they're towards the Greens. And I just think these are all globalist parties, and they're all here to serve the globalist agenda. Yeah. So.
Like I was talking to a group of people the other day, just because I was obviously looking into I was getting an update. I already knew a lot about it, but I was getting an update because it's a long time since I looked at it, of the arrival of small boats illegally coming to the UK. So I'll give you the updated version because I only had it until 2024. But from 2019, so it started at 1,843. In 2020,
that's not, is it really?
Like people, this is people arriving, not small boats. So this is population arriving, like population of people arriving. So in 2019 it was 1,843. 2020 it was 8,466. 2021 it was 28,526. Then the following year 45,774. Then down slightly to 29,437. Then 36,816, and then in 2025 it was 41,472 people. So I was having a conversation with, we were talking about like defence spending and, you know, the funds that we send abroad, and then when you actually look at what we give France to stop the small boats coming across,
it's $1 billion or something.
It's 642 million was given to France to stop illegal migration. So Reece, can you just pull up the video? There was a journalist who went down, and I think you sent me the video. But
was it the politician, that Philip guy?
It wasn't the politician. I think he's just a journalist. So he goes down to the France border and he's talking to police, and it's happening live. It's literally happening live. They're getting on the boats, and he's talking to this guy. So we'll just watch the video of what he says.
Yeah, he's a politician, Chris.
Why have you allowed the migrants into the water? Why haven't you stopped them?
It's a joke, isn't it?
Our order is to let them go like that.
Your order is to let them go?
We just have to say to them, don't do that. It's dangerous.
Don't do that.
So your orders are not to intervene.
We have to protect them.
There's also protecting the border as well.
So the 642 million was the last 3 years that we've spent on giving them money to stop them from coming, and that's what they're doing. And we're giving them another 650 million in the next 3 years. So that's I think equivalent to 1.13 billion in the space of 6 or 7 years. And I was having this conversation with someone, just like having a discussion, telling them this, saying, why are we even paying like that amount of money for that type of sort of behaviour back of like, oh yeah, well. And you sent me that video, but I'd seen other videos where they were actually handing out life jackets because they need to preserve life. They need to be seen not letting them do something dangerous. So if they're trying to get on the boat and they're struggling, life jacket, they lift them on the boat. And like when there is a child, which there isn't many, but they're helping them onto the boat.
Let's have it right. They're all compromised. All these European governments are compromised. They all work for foreign interests. That's what it is. That's why that money is. It's just all embezzling money. It's just one big joke. But yeah, it's a criminal cartel, and they run Europe essentially.
Who do you think is at the top?
Well, I think it's a multi-faith, transnational. Like I call them the globalists. Yeah, I just think it's easy to call them the globalists, but there's people in there who are European, people in there who are Jewish, Muslims. There's a group of people involved in this desire to create a one world government, and that starts by obviously destroying the current empire of the world, which is like the Western empire essentially, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia and Europe. So I think the plan is to like send us almost back to the Stone Age.
Send us back in.
No, it literally is.
Yeah.
It's to really like destroy our economies, destroy our self-determination, make sure we've got no nationalism left, so we've got no ability to like group together and organise, and I think that's very much what the agenda is, and I think it's looking like it's going to be realised. It pains me to say it, but I think in 20 years this country won't, you know, people who are smart will have already left. That's probably what I think is going to happen. I wish it weren't. This is the only home most of us have got. I'm lucky, I'm a dual national, but Australia's going down the same path. That's what I find bizarre, is all these European and Western governments are all in lockstep doing the same thing. It goes against common sense, goes against morality, goes against sovereignty. The fact they're all doing it at the same time together shows the colluding. Why would they be? They're meant to be independent sovereign nations. So I think essentially all our governments are compromised now, and it's just going to be a tiptoe of destruction. And then once obviously we've got rid of the Europeans and the Western nations, they can start building this new empire, and you know, most of the world will be like a third world country. That's generally what I think the plan is.
There's a common phrase on social media. I only came across it a few years ago, but it was suicidal empathy.
Yeah.
Do you think the UK has reached suicidal empathy?
Well, I think most of Europe has, hasn't it? Obviously, that's where we see a lot of the suicidal empathy comes from. Often, white liberals stand up to racism. There's hardly ever a black person in the group. Like, do you know what I mean? I've seen like Based and Bougie. She's black. She'll go over and ask them questions, and they're like, they won't even talk to her. Do you know what I mean? She's like, is there racism in the room with us? And they're just like, go away. Like, they just can't have a conversation. They're just like, if you've looked into narcissism, have you looked into narcissism?
We had a narcissist expert on just over a year ago.
It's been a big feature of my growing up, I think, without going into it too much. So I know a lot about narcissism. I was raised by one, essentially. And those traits are dead obvious in this extreme left. Not in like everyone who's left-leaning, but the more left you go, the more I think it's rooted in narcissistic tendencies. So like, they're very much about like for example, you know, women against the far right. Yeah, they'll counter protest an anti-illegal immigration protest. Like, that is chickens for KFC. That is ridiculous. And like, I love it because I think I might send some of these videos, but that Based and Bougie go up to them and go, excuse me, blah blah, start to them, go, who's the far right? And they'll go like, Trump. Okay, so we're all out protesting to protect us from Trump. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the far right in England? Farage. And they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. They don't know. And then she'll go, what about these women who were all murdered by illegals? And they'll go like, yeah, but white men, 85% of the crimes. And they just start coming out with all the stupid stats. And it's like, you just can't get through to them. Yeah. And that's what narcissists are like. They're so fixated in their ideologies. And they'll often like some narcissists will be dead nice to strangers, but horrible to their own family. Do you know what I mean? And for me, if you think men entering the country legally, like for me, one woman being murdered, like, is too many. To them, that's like collateral damage to save the world. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And to me, that's pure selfish.
It's an acceptable cost.
In their head, yeah. So it's like, hang on, you're out here standing up against the far right to protect women, which in most cases is an admirable cause, because there are nasty men, not denying that, but the idea of flooding more in, so it doesn't math.
It's ironic.
It's pure ironic, isn't it? And it's mad when they're getting into it. It's like they'd never get it. You'd never be able to get through to them.
Yeah.
The way they see it is like, as long as it's wrapped in lovely language, then they're all for it. Like, bit off topic here, but one thing I've looked into lately that's really changed my opinion on is abortion. And like, we're talking about immigration, and we're talking about the decimation of the Western nations, but actually we've got to look at ourselves as well. Look at the birth rates. Like, we can't blame outsiders if we haven't even got a birth rate that sustains our own civilization.
I think the current birth rate is 1.5, bearing in mind 2.1 is replacement.
Yeah.
So we're literally
I think the only developed country is like Israel. I think they're on like 2.6, but all your other developed nations, they're all 1.5, 1.2.
Yeah. Like Spain's like 1.1, so 1.2.
Now, why are most of us not having kids? Money. Do you know what I mean? And then we look at like abortion, and it's something crazy. Like, since it started, 1.6 billion abortions or something. You might want to double check that before someone's like leathering me in the comments.
Find that out, since abortion started, what's been the amount of the abortion rate?
But anyway, it's an astronomical number, and it's such a sad reality when you look at it, that we've got such an issue with our own demographic replacement, and yet so many abortions are happening. Do you know what I mean? Now, who's getting abortions?
Usually like a Western world, and a lot of black women as well.
Yeah, so we know in America they equate for 13% of the population, but they have 40% of the abortions. Now, do you know who Margaret Sanger is? No. She set up Planned Parenthood, and it used to be called the Negro Project. And she's quoted saying something along the lines, you can probably get this up if you want to, but she made some quotes about like getting rid of the black population. So these are the sorts of people behind these sorts of things. But like, I started watching these videos just out of interest. I love watching people debate, and what I find is, on most topics, the more extreme lefties have zero ability to even they can't even conversate. They can't even listen. Again, not saying that's everyone on the left, but just the ones who are on the extreme end. And then you'll have guys like, there's a guy called Russell who does something called Abolitionist Rise, and you've probably seen his videos, and it's mad. Like, once you've seen 5, you've seen 1,000, because they're so programmed. With
you
the
can almost
responses.
Predict what they're going to
say. I can tell you what they're going to say.
You see blue hair, and you're like, you know what they're going to say.
It's crazy. But like, some of the things are just mad. So like, we have to be honest, right? When does life start?
As soon as the sperm hits
conception, isn't it? So life starts at conception. Are they a human? Yeah. So they should have value, in my opinion. I'm now very much against abortion. The more I've learned about it, although maybe 2 years ago I had no opinion of it. Like, it's one of them things, I hadn't really delved into it. Didn't really look at it. There's so many families waiting to adopt young babies.
There's literally
loads. I didn't think that was the case.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought we had too many kids to get rid of.
That's what
that's what we were taught, though.
This is another. All these things we're going to talk about today, all of them stack up together to attack the Western world.
Thing. Just dead quick. What was the count, Reece?
So it doesn't have an exact figure since abortion started, but it says that the World Health Organization estimates it's 73 million abortions every single year across the world today.
And when was
so
it?
that's like the population of England's murdered every year.
Literally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's insane, isn't it? And like, how
and
easy...
And it's only increasing as well.
Yeah, it's only increasing. How easy do we just pick a group of people and dehumanise them? Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone who's for abortion weren't aborted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, just like what they'll do is they'll go like, but what about like your mum's raped and blah, blah, they use the most extreme cases, right? Yeah. But then you go, hang on, forget about that extreme case. Are you for abortion for any reason? Yeah. Well, why don't we just stick to that then?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That is always the decider. Like, whenever I've argued with people, you can tell when they're really low IQ and they can't take your perspective into analysis because they'll use the extremities to try and override
and it'll be so emotionally charged.
And it'll be like, oh well, what if my daughter was raped? It's like, yeah, obviously, like that's an extreme case, but it doesn't account for the 90% of other ones that are done consensually.
98% or something.
Something done consensually. Or
Complications.
Just where you go down and just get an abortion.
There is a small percentage where there's extreme cases. Not saying I'm for it, but I can understand why there's a strong argument for it or a stronger argument. Do you know what I mean? But I just think it's insane how like they'll go like it's not a person, and like you'll give them evidence that it is, and they'll just dive to the next, like, you know, what if they're gonna be poor? Well, should we just round up the poor kids and kill them? Yeah. Why don't we just slaughter people for being poor? So many great videos of people who were born through rape.
Yeah, and they're the ones asking the questions.
They'll ask great questions, and they'll be like, "I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah.
So glad my mum didn't abort me for the sins of my father." We don't punish people for the sins of the father, do we? Do you know what I mean? But what you'll find is all these really strong leftist ideologies now, like abortion, transgenderism, they all support net decrease in population. Yeah. Funnily enough, whether that's by coincidence, I don't believe so. But let's pretend it is. But like, just so happens, like, all these things challenge our own demographic integrity. Mass migration, they love that. Like abortion, transgenderism, like for these things that anything like to do with the family unit, they hate. The family unit's handmaid's tale. You know what I mean? Like, it's also oppressive. Just being assigned a gender at birth is just oppressive.
It almost seems at their detriment as well. Like, I was watching a video the other day, and there was a bunch of LGBTQ lot, and they were sort of pro immigration and pro like even the illegal, saying like we need to house them, we need to take them in, and they're like, are you aware like Muslims would want to kill you because they don't believe in like being any sort of like gay or homosexual or bisexual, and they just won't. No. They won't even answer the question. It's like, are you aware that people they would persecute you if they were the majority in a country and you were in their country, you wouldn't exist. Like you look at, you know, like any sort of Arab nation, all the gay people over there, or even if you're a bit fruity, you can't walk around with blue hair. No, you can't walk around.
Don't celebrate it, do you?
No chance, because you wouldn't be able to. Like you'd be putting. You literally. I think I've seen something. It said that the 24 Muslim countries. It's illegal to be homosexual, and 8 of them you can be sentenced to death for being gay. Yeah, and it's like, and then you see these LGBTQ lot like pushing the agenda. And
you know what? I'd have so much respect for them. Like I said, the Palestine issue that they're obsessed with, and I'd have so much more respect for them if they knew that like these things aren't promoted in these places, and they said no, but it's about being a humanitarian. They don't even get it. Yeah, no. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, no, it's insane how all these ideologies now that I associate with Marxism are just like rife among young people, celebrated, and I do think that's the way we're going. We're going towards extreme leftism over the next like 10, 20 years.
Yeah. Have you seen any like examples of whether it be like about immigration or extreme leftism around like Liverpool?
In what sense?
Like, for example, like if you look at like London and places like that, like places that have kind of been overtaken by a different population, there's different things like that they do. Like, for example, like, well, even with education, you obviously see things like transgenderism being taught in schools, or, you know, like, for example, I had a guy on a while ago, and he lived in Crewe, and he was talking about there's a cult in Crewe where they literally...
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, like things like that, like where they'll have like an Islamic sort of society nested into a normal, you know, British town or whatever. Have you seen that anything?
No, I haven't, and like I say this all the time, every Muslim I know is a great person, and every Muslim that I know is integrated, so I don't really see this yet, other than like through my phone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But my worry is that we're on the same path as the Iranian Revolution. That green-red alliance, do you know what I mean? Like, most common people just want to live. Do you know what I mean? And that's the case for most people coming here, immigrants, ourselves, Muslims, Jews, Christians, whatever, black, white. 99% of people just want to get along and have the basics. I do believe that. But when we have an extreme who's very loud, they seem to dominate that group and the direction they go in. And if you look at, have you seen much about the Iranian Revolution in 1979?
I've heard about it. I don't know much about it.
It was very much a radical form of Islam, and lefties overthrowing the regime.
The Christian regime.
Was he Christian?
I don't know.
No, I can't remember. But there was involvement from the Americas and in the UK, and you know, they nationalised the oil, and I can't remember. I've watched a few documentaries on it in the past, but essentially what happened in the end was the left aligned with political Islam, and then obviously now they've got like,
so there's a civil war,
a Sharia law in the country, and you know, that more radical side of Islam as presented itself. And then obviously you've got a lot of Iranians freeing, and then obviously you've got America bombing a school in Iran and people picking sides. I'm for neither of them. I don't stand with any of them, any of these governments, because they all seem to be doing the same thing. They all seem to be, in my opinion, even when they're warring, I think the top is pretty much sewn up. Do you know what I mean? In all these nations, I think Iran and America and Israel, I think if you move up the pyramid high enough, I think they're all sitting around the same table laughing at us. Yeah, that's just what I think.
So obviously you're referencing, like, not necessarily civil war in the last thing you said, but you said about like the Iranian civil war. But do you see the UK having a civil war?
Possibly, yeah. Like, I really don't like saying this because I don't want to fearmonger at all, but I do worry that, like, that's what the illegals is about. Like, I know the people in power aren't altruistic. They don't care about people. These are all political agendas. Like, you go back when the World Trade Centers was collapsed, which again I don't believe was done by Islamic terrorists, but whatever. I don't want to get into that. But I remember being like really fearful of Muslims because as a kid I didn't know any Muslims. So I remember like being on a plane and seeing a Muslim man and being like, oh my God, he's gonna blow the plane up and all. And is that because I'm a bad person? No, I was just a kid. But why was that? Where did that come from? The TV screen. And we look at how quickly they can use social engineering. So 1 minute we've all got to be scared of Muslims while we attack and murder innocent Muslims all over the world, and the next minute we're not to fear the ones coming in who are unvetted on boats from countries that really are like in turmoil. Do you know what I mean? Like in places like Nigeria and Sudan and that now, though, Christians are being slaughtered. I've seen some gruesome videos recently.
There's a Christian like not a lot of people know that there's a current Christian genocide happening in Africa, isn't there?
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like I was always quite heavily into the Palestine stuff, but what I realised is, like, was I getting drawn into the politics of it all because they're not promoting all these other genocides in Sudan, Nigeria. Like, they're going on all over the world, really, aren't they? So I don't even know if one of the reasons they've done what they've done in Palestine, where you can literally, like, people deny this, but like you can literally watch videos. I've got a friend, Big Mo, great guy. He's a doctor, Australian and British national like myself. He's been into Gaza a few times. Honestly, he's one of the best people I've ever met. And just he's been in there, do you know what I mean? And to hear the stories and to see it yourself.
What was some of the things you were saying?
Just like the way, like, they'll go into a neonatal, you like babies, just pull the plug out and just let them all die, and like knowingly, like, depriving, like, say there's a convoy coming in and it's got baby milk on, they'll take all the baby milk off. Babies, newborn babies can only drink milk. They can't be given solid food. They'll die. Like, I just think they're the most wicked things I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? Some of the stuff happening to the Palestinians is just like, it's beyond belief.
It's just unbelievable.
It's beyond belief. A video of like a Down syndrome fella getting attacked, and they said dogs on him or something. I can't remember. It was like a couple of years ago, but just, I've seen some proper atrocities. And again, you listen to some of these doctors, one of them talking about kids being buried alive. He saw it, he witnessed it with a digger. like just unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? I forgot what I was going with the comment, but like, yeah, it's a shame, innit? Do you know what I mean? But I don't know how we can help the world if we destroy our own integrity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because I think a lot of the things online at the minute is saying that we're becoming overrun. Like they said that London's overrun, Birmingham's overrun, Manchester's overrun. Do you think Liverpool is next?
Yeah, so we've identified ourselves like a sanctuary city, haven't we?
To immigrants.
Yeah. I do think we're on the agenda to get a big wave of them. There's a MOD base in Bicester, is it? Have you seen that?
No.
So a large part of Bicester voted Lib Dem, which is left leaning.
Yeah.
And now they've got a town of 1,650 people, and they're putting 1,200 immigrants on the site. So nearly doubling the population, and they're free to roam. And now the same lefties who are out protesting against immigration are now against that.
Right.
But do you know why they're against it?
Yeah, why?
2 reasons. One is because they don't want the far right to come and protest and be in there. And 2, the facilities aren't good enough to house them. It's inhumane. So what it is, in my opinion, they don't want them there. It's all right in someone else's backyard, just not ours. But that's that thing about narcissism again, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Where, like,
only if it suits their agenda.
They're so keen to appear to be virtuous. It's false virtue, isn't it? They're so keen to appear to be virtuous.
Yeah. They're worried about the optics rather than actually doing
exactly it. Other than the reality, where like most people are worried about the reality, aren't they?
I take it back because I thought I knew what you were going to say then. As I said before, you always know what they're going to say. But you could have given me a thousand guesses and I wouldn't have guessed that. But something I've definitely noticed, like when I first moved to Liverpool, I've been here 10 years now, so I was even walking through town the other night with my girlfriend very late at night because we were out in town, and it does seem to be getting rougher, not just with immigrants but with homelessness and more immigrants. Like even the other day, me and Reece walked past like that building. It was on fire the other day, wasn't it? And I actually didn't know that it was an immigrant hotel, and it was on fire. And it's just coming in, and I think because it is happening slowly, it's happening a lot, but it's still quite slow, if that makes sense over time. That you're sort of getting it drip fed to the point where if I compared a day 10 years ago to a day now, it would be black and white.
It's the frog in the water, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly like you boil a frog over time and it'll die. And I was talking to my girlfriend about it. I said, I think it is getting to Liverpool now. I was like, I've been to other cities. I went to Birmingham about 2 years ago. I played footy there. Went on a night out. That was a shithole. Been to London a few times in the last few years. Shithole. Like, and I feel it coming into Liverpool a lot more lately.
I've done a night with the Liverpool Guardians. Have you seen anything about them?
No.
So they're like a group, like a Christian group, and they're like patrolling the streets, and they do a lot of stuff. Like they help the homeless, all genuinely good people from what I can see. All like involved with Christianity, still go to church, all this type of stuff. And when I was out with them, we bumped into a little old fella who had dementia, but he was like 70, and he had a wad of cash in one hand and his passport, and he said, I'm lost. So 2 of us stayed with him, me and a lad called, I forgot his name now, but me and this other lad stayed with him anyway, and we were with him for a few hours as we were waiting for an ambulance to come and get him. In the end, the police took him home for us, but like we were just safeguarding him because he was drunk, vulnerable, walking around with cash in his hand, and whilst I was standing there, we're obviously keeping our eyes out, okay, and I seen 2 foreign men, okay, and like it was like they'd just seen something. They were like, hey, just speaking in foreign tongues. I don't know what they were saying, but they pointed to something and then they ran. So I said to that fella, stay there. I wanted to see what was going on, because that's the whole point of us being out. And this is the God's honest truth, swear down dead. I goes round the corner and they're running after a girl. They've spotted a girl on her own with headphones on, walking up by St. John's. It's like 4 a.m. There's not hardly no one about. There's the odd like straggler. So I shouted like, come on, let's go. So we run and we catch them up. And then as they get closer, one of them just whacks her dead hard on the arse. She like shits herself, turns around. And like, I don't know what they're saying to her, but they I don't know what they were going to do, who knows. But they celebrated seeing her and ran after her. Do you know what I mean?
And slapped her on the arse.
And slapped her on the arse. Now, if me and that lad then said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And they ran off. They just scarpered straight away. So, doesn't look good, does it? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, and then, like, just seeing, like, we go to Bombed Out Church. After that, we went to Bombed Out Church, a group of us, and you've got lots of Wolverhampton taxis and, like, groups of foreign men. And it does look like the targeting drunken birds and go and get in my taxi. And so it's definitely suspicious anyway. And, yeah, I'm curious to think what might have happened if me and, you know, two of us weren't there that night. But they see a lot of that. Don't get me wrong, we've got our own sex pests.
Yeah,
like,
of course, yeah.
But we shouldn't import more.
Yeah.
And what I'd say is, like, when we look at, like, modern society, what we have, people who abuse women and children, they do it covertly, don't they? They groom, they're abusive behind closed doors. You're like, horrific one recently, those two fellas who'd adopted that baby. Like, the most horrific stories, but they don't snatch them off the street, do they?
Yeah.
When we look at the illegal crimes committed by migrants, it's the opposite. They're not given access to kids and women, so when they offend, it's the same, but it's more brutal. It's equal in its violence and it's evil, but theirs is like more. I don't know what the language is. I think it's
like normalised for them. Like, I think for us, like, when we see two British men do it, it's like, wow, like, it really stands out. Whereas, like, if, for example, if it was to happen in their country and they're seeing this, it's pretty normal for them to do it. Whereas we, like, obviously, we've always, like I said, we have our own problem with it.
Yeah,
like, even the white population, it's increasing over time.
Yeah, it's getting
so we
worse.
have our own problem, but it is proven to be shown, like, obviously, like, the more we integrate them into our society, the more we take in, it increases numbers drastically more. And when you actually break it down and look at the towns, like, I had some stats before, and when you break it down of the towns, you know, usually it doesn't go more than 30% of a population in the UK, even in the worst parts of the UK, where it's like foreign nationals or immigrants or anyone from who's not British. But then some of the like sexual assaults are 50%, even though it's a 30% population, it's 50% of them. Yeah. Then some of them it's as low as 5%, and they're committing like 60% of the.
I just want to use one example, because this like as the father of a 5-year-old, I've literally just taught a class. It's like 34 and 5-year-olds. Like, I love kids, like, honestly, they're so precious, they're so innocent. And I'll just use an example. A recent case. I think he got 11 years. Some mum's in the garden doing some gardening or whatever, and this little girl is playing out. She's 5, like, on a scooter. One of these illegals has grabbed her and scurried off and took her into his flat. Now the mum's gone, where is she? Can't find her, swearing her mate are looking. I think his name was like Mohammed Abdul Razak or something. It might be worth getting it up in a sec. But
look at that.
Yeah, he got 11 years, took a 4.5-year-old, 5-year-old girl. So the mum, and they've looked through his flat window, and there he is with his pants down and her pants down. So they started screaming for help, and then some fellas have come over and booted the door in. They've got him, but obviously he's assaulted her. Like, I'm sorry, but like, your average native Brit sex pest or paedophile, they haven't got the audacity to do that. That's not like they still exist. Yeah. But they do it covertly. They slyly do it. Yeah. And it's usually to someone they know.
So in March 2026, a 32-year-old Sudanese national named Mohammed Abdulaziz was sentenced to 11 years in prison. The incident on March 30th, I can't pronounce that. Abdulaziz snatched he snatched a 5-year-old girl who was playing outside her home in Winson Green, Birmingham. He took her inside a terraced property and sexually assaulted her. The girl's mother heard her cries, leading local residents to intervene, rescue the child, and detain the man until police arrived. So the conviction, he was found guilty at Birmingham Crown Court of false imprisonment with intent to commit a sexual offence, sexual assault, and an assault. A dangerous sexual predator who abducted a 5-year-old girl off the streets and then sexually assaulted her has been jailed. And that was the Mirror that reported it.
That's just nuts, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just one case I'm highlighting there. And it's just mad to think, like, someone like him can come here illegally, be housed, clothed, fed, given spending money, all at mine and your expense, and yet he's willing to do that to our children.
Yeah, I think the key with what we're trying to distinguish here is they do it very overtly.
Versus
like the UK.
That's the right language.
Yeah, so like obviously you've all seen them videos of like on TikTok or Instagram where people catch, like, they sting paedophiles, don't they?
Yeah.
And usually it's like they do it like, you know, the average white British guy.
Videos.
I fucking love them as well when
the
they catch them,
and
they're trying to run away and whatever. But usually it's like they're messaging them online, they're doing this, and they're really doing it, trying to covertly do it. Sometimes they've even got fake users.
They've got suites and a booked hotel room.
And all that, which, like, don't get me wrong,
it's all disgusting.
It's all fucking terrible. But then what you're saying is
it's just so different, isn't it?
The immigrants then will just, like you're saying, they'll run down a street and go and snatch someone, or like they'll do it.
They should all go into a wood chipper fee first. Yeah, is what I want to say. But what annoys me is when I called it, like, so I've got a child, right? And if something happened to one of my children, I would be devastated, right? But if I found out that the person who did it was here illegally and was facilitated by the very people meant to protect us, the police, the courts, the government. This is what's so wrong with it, and this is why I don't get how the lefties can't, like, rationalise my point of view, but they can't. They can't, like, for me to cut. They'll just say, well, you can't stop illegals coming in just because of him. It's like, well, why? But one is one too many. Do you know what I mean?
Like, it's the same as like any sort of spending that we do. If we can't sustain our own, why are we then getting more of it?
I remember there was a news article talking about, like, if we want to fight climate change, have less babies. I think I've sent you that. And then on the next slide, it's like they're encouraging African mothers, don't have 4, have 7. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's that same thing again, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I think I remember you sending me something as well. It was like a German ad, and it was a woman breastfeeding with another kid, and it said like something like, "This is causing
climate wreckers or something."
Yeah, like this is causing the climate change or something. I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Like,
not the thousands of things that are burned abroad, or like all the waste that, like, you know, India cause, or all the gases that they emit.
It's you
breastfeeding a baby and having more white children.
It's just, it winds me up so much, you know. I can't believe I used to actually walk around feeling guilty for being white. I know. Now I look at it all, I'm like, no one should feel guilty about the crimes of their ancestors.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You just shouldn't.
Like, I just want to go through the rape statistics, because this was another thing. Like, again, when I was reading through this the other day, like, I was updating the stats on it, because obviously I'm doing it year by year. So this is the rape statistics in Europe comparing the year 2000 with 2025. So there's England and Wales as one, Germany, France and Poland. So in the year 2000, England and Wales, there was 8,593 rapes. This went up by 881% by the year 2025, and then now it stands at 84,292 that have happened in the last year.
Wow.
In Germany, in the year 2000, it was 8,133, and in 2025, it was 52,330, with a 543% increase. In France, in the year 2000, it was 7,500, and then in 2025, it's 46,391 at a 518% increase.
Now do Poland.
And then Poland, 2,399, and then in 2000, and then in the year 2025, 4,406. So that's only an 84% increase. So obviously, like, I remember Poland, the last time I looked, it was 2023, and it had gone down. And obviously, like, now it has gone up, but only by 84%, which again is a problem.
It's still ridiculous.
It's a problem, don't get me wrong. But overall, it's
still minute, isn't it, compared to the others?
Yeah, if you look at them all, the total in the year 2000 was 26,625, and then the total in 2025 was 117,419, which is a 435% increase. So why do you think that between the year 2000 and 2025, rape statistics have gone up by 435%?
There's nothing racist about statistics, is there? Right? If you look, I think David Lammy's blocking it, isn't he, in Britain? So they don't want to release the crime statistics based on nationality. That should just tell you everything you need to know. But I think there have been some countries that have done it. Denmark have done it. Germany have done it. I have sent you some of the videos, haven't I, of them? Yeah. I think Denmark, like, a Somali is 22 times more likely to commit rape than me or you, or an average Dane.
I think from the average UK citizen to the average UK man to female, I think we're 4 times more likely to commit a sexual assault or assault in general. And then as you like go up, like, to Somalis or Afghans, and it goes up to 18 to 1 or 20 to 1, but in the UK we only write when they write news articles, they write all the time about how men are, more inclined,
yeah.
but they'll never say like, oh well,
Well,
Afghani men are 18 times more likely.
Here's a good point. I think like men commit violent crime at a rate of 4 to 1 against women, don't they?
Yeah.
And we're happy to highlight that, aren't we? We're happy to go like, oh, how bad men are. But then some of these other nationalities, and I don't think that reflects their overall population most of the time. I actually think half the time they're bringing the worst of the worst here on purpose for this reason. I really do. I think some of these boat migrants that are coming here as criminals already. Do you know what I mean? People go on holidays to some of these places and like they're surprisingly friendly, peaceful. So it's a shame that it reflects badly on people. But if in Denmark it's 22 times, that's like substantially higher than 4 times for the rate of men to women. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, I think the truth's literally punching us in the face at the minute, and it's not racist, and it's not about like judging anyone or being prejudiced or discriminating against anyone. It's about self-preservation and self-determination, isn't it? That's what motivates me to have this conversation with you today. It's not because I'm filled with hate or I'm after anyone or I've got an agenda. I just want to live happy and a prosperous life, and I want to be able to leave the world better than we got given it. Yeah. And we're not doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you don't know, like, it's like that story with my girlfriend the other day. I was walking home, and when I'm walking myself, like now, like I'm walking through town, and I've got my head on a swivel. I never wear earphones and these types of things. But I remember walking home with her the other night, and I was 10 times more on alert, and I just didn't feel safe. And that's not like me at all. Like when I was 18, walking around. Obviously, you always have to be a bit aware, and you always have to make sure that you're safe. But I just feel like over time, things are just becoming less safe. And the last thing, I've not had children yet, but if I was like you in the same boat as you now, where we've got children, like it's just another level of like paranoia. Like not letting them out at night, not letting them have social media, not letting them like in different friend groups in school or whatever it is. Like it's like a minefield that you just can't navigate through.
One of the things that I've probably heard from Rupert Lowe, to be honest, is that thing of a high trust society, and you don't realise what you had till it's gone.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And we pretty much do live in a really high trust society. Don't get me wrong, we've got yobs on the streets and we've got murderers and rapists and paedophiles, but majority of people in Britain, regardless of colour, as long as they've got British culture, it's rooted in good values. Do you know what I mean?
I think I seen a stat the other day, and I don't want to butcher it, but it basically said about, I think it was like 100 years ago. I think it was during the 70s or so. It said that I think it was 9 out of every 10 people like allowed their neighbour to have a key to their house. Like they trusted the neighbours, or they knew the names of the neighbours, all this type of stuff. And then it'd gone down to like 2 in every 10 or something. Like now. And I just thought that puts it into perspective.
That's
like,
a great way to actually measure.
Yeah, like I thought that as well. Like I probably got that wrong, to be honest, but it was significant anyway. The trust has deteriorated over time to now where people don't even know their neighbours for a start, and the last thing they do is trust them. I just think that's like crap, because when I was a kid, like I said, I'm 30 years older, but I remember when I was a kid, both of our neighbours had keys to us at our house if we were on holiday or if something happened. We knew the names of everyone on the street. That was pretty normal. Whereas now that's like not taboo, but it's frowned upon. It's like, let's not do that because you don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I've not seen you since this happened, but obviously about 6 months, I think it was just less than 6 months ago, Labour voted against the rape gang inquiry. I remember us talking about the rape gang inquiry. I think it was off camera the last time you were here, and we were debating whether it would happen or not, and obviously they voted against it. So what were your thoughts when you seen that they'd voted against something that would uncover some harsh truths about the UK and obviously going forward would protect our young girls? Yeah,
I mean, totally what I expect. Is sounds like they were complicit in the grooming. This is sort of not like has always put me off politics. It's not just what we've seen with them grooming gangs, the Epstein stuff. I was into this stuff like 20 years ago. Jimmy Savile and the Ninth Circle. Just Google that and do some research on that. It's unbelievable. The depravity. I actually met a guy not too long ago called Rajamir, and he was involved in exposing some of this in Rochdale, and like they tried to take his life. The government's like took him to court, and like they're just trying to like do everything to take him down. And just listening to him speak, he was teared up. And
what was he uncovering exactly?
The grooming
The
scandal,
grooming
the rape
gangs,
of children,
Was he the one who was involved in it? And then he whistle blew about it and then turned.
I'd say he's a whistleblower, but I wouldn't say he was involved in it. No,
because I heard about one who was involved with it. I don't know if they're the same guy,
but yeah, just listening to someone speak who's got first-hand knowledge of it. Do you know what I mean? It was quite harrowing, to be honest. But it doesn't surprise me, because I think elite circles use child abuse as a means of ring fencing their secret societies or whatever they are. How involved the grooming scandal is with that, I don't know, but I'm not surprised that an institution that has that going on at the top would cover for it lower down the levels. Do you know what I mean? It's a top-down culture. Some of the girls who were abused talk about police day when the coppers had come and raped them.
I remember that.
So, defo happened. But you know, like, it's still not like. Obviously, I'm trying to get involved with grassroots politics, but like that has been one of the big things that has probably given me a bit more understanding of how bad it could get if like we don't start dealing with grassroots politics ourselves, because we're beat at the ballot box, aren't we? Essentially, like you've never voted, I've never voted, most people have never voted, and I understand why. It's because we don't believe in the political system. But if you think about it, these globalists control both sides of the coin, and maybe if people actually got more involved and started voting, then maybe the country goes a slightly different way. Not sure it'd change the trajectory, but can we slow the decay?
I was about to say, it's like the thermal cooling of the earth, and it's going to happen eventually. It's just how quickly it happens.
Yeah. So,
but something that's obviously like accelerating that is obviously Rupert Lowe. I think it was it yesterday or recently he came out with the. So Rupert Lowe came out yesterday and he's offered Nigel Farage like a sort of a join of arms to sort of join against the forces of Labour or the forces of Green Party. So do you think that if Nigel Farage and Rupert Lowe combine forces that they could win the next election?
Listen, I've been someone who's been quite, like, I admire Rupert and the way he talks, and why I've liked it is because there's no nonsense. I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree with most things he say. Do you know what I mean? And one of the big issues I've got, like, for me, there's too much involvement with Zionism. So you'll see a lot of lobbying by IPAC in America, or like Friends of Israel, and that puts me off, because what I see then is foreign interests have an influence over people involved in our politics, and I don't like it. It doesn't sound good to me. So I've always hoped Rupert weren't part of that Zionist-controlled political agenda. But I think Farage is.
Right. Why?
Personally, I don't know. It's just my gut. Like, I think he's a career politician, and they're good at saying what needs to be said, and I don't even believe reform's that right wing, really. Like, I grew up as someone who was left wing, Labour, fuck the Tories, all that type of stuff. But really, I didn't really understand politics or even give it a first thought. Whereas when we look at the policies now of Restore versus Reform, I do agree with 90+% of the Restore policies, more 99%. Whereas I think Reformer backtracking, and maybe they're almost still a left leaning. Like, people think having borders is pure right wing. It's not. Like, it isn't. This is just a new phenomenon where we've brainwashed people to think that, like, having your borders wide open for anyone to come in and claim benefits is totally normal.
It's like we were talking about before. I think the Overton window has shifted that much that I'd say Reform are quite centrist. Like,
I'd say
they have some left. They have some left views. They have some right views, but they're pretty centrist. But like you said, as soon as they say, "Oh, we're having borders," they immediately right wing. Yeah, like, that's just the case of it. But go on, finish what you were saying.
So anyway, I just think, like, Restore is actual right wing, and for me, left wing is about more government and more of these Marxist policies, like attacking the family unit, telling kids they can be born in the wrong body, you know, abortions, all these type of things, which I think are hindering our ability to have a functioning society long term. And then more right leaning is things like the family, less government involvement, promoting, like, rewarding people who graft and earn money. Was on the left. We've got this big push for a welfare state. Eventually they probably just want us all on a UBI. How long until most jobs are going to be automated or run through AI anyway, so there's going to be a surplus of useless eaters, isn't he? So
Useless eaters.
That's what these elites refer to us as, mate. Useless eaters. No, that's what we're called. No,
I've actually not heard that yet.
Didn't you know that?
I've not heard that, no.
No, honestly, apparently that's what they call us, useless eaters. So
They're probably not fucking far
no,
wrong.
listen, apparently that's legit, like. But anyway, yeah, I feel like Restore was like an actual grassroots thing. Like the people I know who are wanting to vote Restore don't normally care about politics, whereas I feel like Reform is a lot of like former Tory voters.
Yeah. The new Tory party, basically.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Rupert might be part of this whole scam, and I'll get egg on my face, but for me at this point it's like I'd rather try that route than just not do nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Not
and
gonna,
at least
not going to go to the Green Party.
not going to be voting Green this time round anyway, maybe for the next one. But I just think, like, I look at them policies on the Green thingy, more immigration. They're pretty much talking about a UBI, aren't they? They're talking about giving everyone £1,600 a month, whether you're foreign or you're not. Who's paying for all this? Net zero. Oh, that's like the scariest. That's the scariest thing. Do you know how many people would starve to death if we went net zero now?
Yeah.
So these have got these like they're like ideologies more than even. They're not even feasible. Like, we produce less than 1% of global carbon emissions. So even if we destroy ourselves and all commit suicide, won't change the trajectory. China will carry on. And the more we deindustrialise, the more we have to like outsource our industrialisation. So
and then that would increase it.
There's still a net. Do you know what I mean? It's like the whole thing of like pretending lecky cars don't contribute. Like you're not charging them with fossil fuels. It's just absurd.
What did you think about the obviously there was that Scottish Green Party MP that said we should abolish the prisons?
Oh no, it's just a joke, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I was watching it, I thought this has got to be like a soundbite that they've like clipped up what she's said, and I watched the whole thing, and she's fully about it. She wants to get rid of prisons and let everyone out because of mental health and because of the strain that it'll put on their lives. And I was just like, this is absolutely, like, the fact that she's even an MP is just crazy to me. Like, how can you think that some of the most dangerous criminals probably in the world that sometimes we have in the UK, like some of the rapists we have here, should be out on the street? Like, it's almost as insane as having no borders.
The debate for these people is, should we be killing them? Like, I am for the death penalty in some cases. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So where we're going, Axel Rudabagana should hang him. Like, they're like, no, let him out. Like, how are we there?
So,
do you know what I mean?
So obviously you just referenced the Southport killer. Obviously, I think was it 3 kids he killed. I think he killed 3 and injured a bunch of them. So first of all, do you think the death penalty should be reinstated?
100%.
And if so, do you think Axel?
He's defo first up, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Say again, sorry.
He'd be first up for me. Defo. No, but why wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a child murderer off the top of my head who would want to execute before him. I think anyone who's caught red-handed murdering or sexually abusing a child, just kill them. That's not even worth rehabilitating them. Just get rid of them. That's honestly what I believe. And I just think, how can you have a humane, like, I know it's humane, but like, how can a society be moral if these people are allowed to exist amongst us? Do you know what I mean? I just think, like, if a pit bull bites someone, what do? We put it down, don't we? I just don't. It's just my opinion. That I understand why some people, like, I don't like the idea of the government having the right to kill people, but in extreme cases, I think it's justified.
I'll be honest, it's not something I've thought about. Like, I've been working my way through different things. I'm onto politics now, and some, like, the death penalty is something I've just not thought about, because obviously we don't really have it here. But obviously in some American states they have it, don't they? And it's a hard one. Like, I think Reese was brought up to me like before, and I thought I need to take time to actually think about what I think there, because I don't believe in the loss of life regardless of things. But then, like you just said, like, if something can't be rescued and he's killed people, and like I said, he's only got a 52-year jail sentence as well, hasn't he? So like he could be out like when he's 70 or something like that.
Yeah, should never
he could go and kill 3 more.
And then that same lefty who's like, no prisons, let him out. She's made up that we're doing 78 million abortions a year to innocent unborn children who've committed no crime just because they're inconvenient and someone might be poor. Like, she's all for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, they just seem to have their empathy all in the wrong places and none of it focused on what's in front of them.
What did you think of that Sudanese migrant who was walking around with the knife, the hatchet? I think he had a jerry can as well.
He was attention seeking, haven't he?
Was it in Manchester? He was walking around in Manchester.
He was attention seeking.
Is that what he said?
That's what the defence are saying in court, and don't send him home or jail him. Just, you know, he's not being treated fairly by the British government, and he's attention seeking. Well, I think we're going to be seeing more and more of this, but again, it's going to help promote this digital ID mass surveillance society, isn't it? We don't want mass surveillance because we've got a high trust society, but the more they erode it, see that paranoia you were talking about earlier, that's what's going to be the that's what's going to break the camel's back. Do you know what I mean? The straw that breaks the camel's back. People will be that paranoid that they'll beg for digital IDs and mass surveillance. So again, I think it's part of that agenda as well.
Yeah, Reece, just go to number 11 and just get that video up for me. Because one thing I've seen as well is, just to finish off on like the sort of the Muslim sort of conversation we were having before, I think you sent me one of the videos and I seen another one of this. I couldn't actually find the one I was on about, but this one's very similar. So this is a Muslim imam in Birmingham. Just pause it for a sec, Reece. So this is a Muslim imam in Birmingham giving a speech to a bunch of Muslims, and I seen a different one, but this is the one I found today. Was basically like he's saying basic things to a group of Muslims and saying, do you agree with this? Or he'll talk about, like, you know, should we kill women for adultery, for example, and they all put their hand up. And obviously this is in our own country, of like they're trying to almost reinstate the law of, like, you know, what's it called, the law? Sharia law. They're trying to reinstate Sharia law into our societies, and obviously this is an example of it. So do you want to just play the video?
Her that she is punished and she is stoned to death. And according to the Sharia again, when it comes to women, there must be a hole dug in the earth, in the ground, and she must be covered up to the half of the body, so that her satar does not.
And I think later on he talked about, and then you stone them, or then you behead them.
I've seen some of these videos,
and a lot of the audience is like they're all just agreeing with it.
Yeah, there's one where he asked the audience, "Do we all agree?"
Yeah,
isn't he? That one, and then one vote. Yeah,
no,
it's worrying, like, because obviously that doesn't align with our values. Like I say, the Muslims I know are more integrated with British values than they are Sharia law. So the ones I know wouldn't want to do that. But obviously some of the ones coming over on them boats would be very much for it, and some of the ones who have come here illegally, like on one of the videos I saw of that, the imam that was doing it was given £2 million by taxpayers' money that year to put towards us, like, education programs and stuff or whatever. So yeah, I do think we've got to be concerned about it. Do you know what I mean? I think, like, long term, if we don't increase the birth rates and get legal migration in check, we could end up like Iran, living under Sharia law, because obviously a lot of the foreigners that come in, even though they're not from the same nations, a lot of Muslims will say Islam is more important than their nation to them. So that's something that unifies them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So they might vote together, outnumber us. We don't even vote anyway, most of us, and then before you know it, you know, we've lost the country through democratic process. Yeah. When actually, you know, Arab armies tried to take the West several times and were pushed back by the sword. And then hundreds of years later, you'll see videos of the Muslim Brotherhood talking about this, like, we're going to take over the West without firing a bullet. Do you know what I mean? Just using birth rates and migration. So
yeah, like I did hear a video. I heard a guy on a video. He was talking about, like, the overtake, and he was arguing with someone, and someone was saying, well, they're not going to overtake us and this and that. He said, well, for example, he goes, right now the Muslim population is less than 10% in the UK. He goes, if you had a 10% chance of overtaking someone, would you take it? And you'd be like, no. He goes, what will happen is as the years go on, and like you said, they'll use the birth rates to increase the population, they'll use illegal or legal migration, whatever they'll do to bring them over. He goes, as the percentages increase to a point where they can then actually overtake you and carry through with what they're saying, that's when they'll overtake. They're not going to overtake when they've got 10% of them. No. They're all going to overtake when they've got 40, 50, 60%.
Well, in democracy, that's how it works anyway. The majority vote wins. So if we become a minority of people who hardly vote anyway, then, you know, our own process is going to be used fairly against us. But we've allowed that. to take place. Do you know what I mean?
What were your thoughts on what happened in Morocco the other day? Obviously, like all them immigrants invading the border and going into Morocco.
Interesting. It didn't seem organic. Where's that come from? I know Bibi Netanyahu and his son done a couple of posts about it. Did you see there?
Yeah. His son called it out, didn't he?
Yeah, or like encouraged them to do it or whatever. So
like that to me, like when I first seen that video, I thought that's not just an impromptu, a few people crossing a border. That seems planned to me. Like how would you get thousands and thousands of people?
60,000 people, 50 or 40,
that's
whatever.
The numbers going up. Like it started at 30, didn't it? But it's been going on a few.
This,
4 or 5 days.
This is like Spanish people, isn't it? Attacking some of the migrants, and this is what I think the globalists want.
That's what I mean. Like, how could that not be planned to the point where you've got 60,000 people?
Yeah,
that's what it's been reported as. 60,000 people all doing it in the same few days. Like,
but that was obviously a little enclave of Spanish territory in Africa, weren't it? But how long until we see that in mainland Europe, like on that scale? It is happening. And I don't really know what to. Like, I think organisations like the Muslim Brotherhood, you'll trace their funding right back up to the globalists. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they represent your average Muslim. Like, I don't hold it against people who come here and exploit the system that we've set up for them to exploit. Like, I can't hold it against them. I feel sorry for people from the likes of Sudan and Eritrea, and they're not probably nice places to live, but as I said before, we can't give from an empty cup. I don't need to go down with them. I can have empathy, but at the same time, it's just like, if you just simplify it to a house, if you've got a house that can bed 10 people, and there's 10 people in there, you can't take 40 more. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not that difficult to understand, is it?
Have you seen those videos? Like, it mainly happens in America, but I've even seen some UK ones where they'll go up to like a left-leaning person, like a liberal person, and say like, "Oh, can you sign up to like, like, would you?" Well, they say like, "Oh, would you want like migrants to be housed in like the US of A or the UK and this and that?" And they're like, "Can you sign this petition so we can start so we can house more of them?" They're like, "Oh yeah, sign it." And they go, "Right, come on, lads." Like 4 immigrants walk up and they're like, No, like I don't have the space.
Shocking an ass in. No, it's hilarious, isn't it? I've seen ones where they're like, we've got Jose Dominguez or whatever, and we're doing a petition that he's getting deported by ICE. And they're like, he's a murderer. And they're like, oh, what did he do? He's like, he shot some girl in the back for no reason. And they're like, everyone deserves a chance. And it's like, oh my God. Or like, even bringing up the abortion one again, I've seen the ones where he's going, look at these poor puppies and kittens, they're getting aborted, and they're showing these liberals like, oh, that's so wrong. It's like, I know who'd ever abort a baby puppy, and they're just like, oh, that's horrible. And then he goes, oh, I've got another petition here about babies. Like, no, fuck that, fuck them. It's just mad. Like,
unbelievable.
There was a case recently in Ireland. Did you see that one?
No.
Where there was an American woman. And again, these are just sad, and it's sad when you see people like celebrating it as well. Like, they deserve it. They don't. Like, they're just misguided, aren't they? But and again, they're coming from a place of.
So can you just tell? I know.
Sorry, yeah. So there's a woman called Jamie Carney, and very far left, met someone at a Palestine protest. I think they got married secretly, potentially. That's what some of the stories are saying now. And this guy was from Jordan, I think. And he's ended up murdering it and fleeing, and it's just a mad story. A 13-year-old daughter found her dead in bed, and like, in a bio it's got like free Palestine, fuck ICE, and it just, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's sad. It's sad. So this foreigner who's came in illegally is in a hotel. He's murdered her. I think he beat her to death with the toilet system, the lid off the toilet. And then he's fled. By the time she's being found, he's already landed in Turkey. So good chance he'll never be brought to justice. But she's the very type of person who'd call me and you out for saying that's unsafe. And she'd say they love saying like, I'd be more safe around the boatmen than you, or these immigrants coming off a boat. I feel a lot safer around them than you. That's why I've had that a few times.
And these people are the ones who suffer. Like there was that woman the other day at the Moroccan border. She was seen videoing them coming in, and she's like high-fiving them and whatnot. And the person videoing her said that 2 guys had walked up to her and said, "Oh, like, sick, we're hungry, we need some food. She was like, oh, where can we grab some food? So she's took them down some street somewhere, and then she wasn't seen for the next 12 hours. Her family reported her missing, and I actually have not chased that up to see what happened if she has been found. But just like stuff like that again, that I remember hearing about in the UK, that gay couple took that refugee into the house, and he beheaded them and killed them both and left them in bin bags and stuff in their own home. And I'm just like I said, it's that suicidal empathy we had before, like we said before, of like the very people that fight for these immigrants, or like not just immigrants, but like people coming in illegally, foreigners, essentially like non-Brits coming in. Yeah, I'm all for humanitarianism, but if we don't know who they are and don't know what they're going to do, these people who advocate for that are the ones that suffer. Suffer it. It's crazy. Right, so the next thing I want to talk about is that sort of the destruction of the nuclear family that seems to be quite prevalent, especially in the Western world. So I want to talk about that draft conversion practices bill. So I'm going to spend a few minutes just going through what the bill is, what it entails, and these types of things, and I'll get your take on it. So the draft conversion practice bill. The bill would criminalise intentionally trying to change or suppress someone's sexual orientation or transgender identity, where the behaviour is considered abusive and causes serious harm or distress. Abuse could include threats, coercion, controlling behaviour, financial pressure, or psychological and emotional pressure. So there's a few things that a parent could potentially do to commit one of these offences and go against the bill if it was to pass in government. So there's three parts of the bill. They intended to change or suppress the child. So if a person tries to change or suppress the child's sexual orientation or transgender identity, if they used abusive behaviour such as coercion, threats, or serious psychological pressure, or caused the child serious harm or distress that substantially affected normal daily life. So some of the examples of where you could be in breach of this law if you were a parent with a child. If a parent does not use the new pronouns or new name the child wanted, that would count as controlling. Taking away a child's phone, grounding them, stopping them seeing particular friends to discourage their identity, removing access to social media or LGBTQ+ groups, withholding pocket money, forcing a haircut or clothing change to suppress their gender expression, moving them to another school to separate them from their friends, searching their phones and messages repeatedly because of their identity, taking away bedroom decorations, clothing or possessions connected to their new identity, preventing contact with a boyfriend or girlfriend specifically to change their orientation. So all of the above would lead a parent exposed to breaking the above bill if it gets passed in government, as I said. And the consequences are parents could get up to 5 years in prison, an unlimited fine at a judge's discretion based on the severity of the case, or both. And a court could impose whatever restrictions or requirements it considers appropriate. So what are your thoughts as a parent? Because I've not got children, but I know my thoughts immediately. But as a parent, what are your thoughts of the conversion practices bill?
Wow, that's totally absurd. I just don't think there's any such thing as a child being born in the wrong body. Like when we were kids, you were a tomboy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're transing the gay away of some of these poor kids. Like, well, that's something that I've heard like a couple of gay people say before. They're just transing the gay away. I think it's abusive to say a child's born in the wrong body anyway. Don't think there's any such thing. Billboard Chris, a guy who does a lot of like activism with this, he sums it up nicely for me. There's two genders and there's infinite personalities. Why do we need pronouns and like gender identities? It's just absurd. It's an attack on the family unit. That's what it is. Do you know what I mean? And then we're giving kids Lupron, which was used to chemically castrate paedophiles.
Sex offenders,
yeah. And then again, I said this on the last podcast, but puberty isn't just about sexual development. It's about going from a child into an adolescent into an adult. And I just think any person who's willing to interfere with a child's development is a danger to children. And right now, obviously, a lot of people on the left are very much for this agenda. But I just think it's rooted in deviance, mate. I just don't see how that I remember in 2019 doing a podcast and saying this stuff's going to be massive soon, and they were a bit like, well, I don't think it is, but a few years later it was like, it's huge. So yeah, these kids end up taking Lupron. I think it's something crazy, like 95% of kids who go on puberty blockers progress to cross-sex hormones. So now we're looking at,
say that again, sorry.
This is from Billboard Chris. It's above 95%. Basically, once you start that medical pathway for a young person, it's almost impossible to get off
To
it,
revert it, yeah.
because everyone around you now is on board. But usually the parents, the physician, or whoever's involved, if they've gone to a specific gender ideology clinic, then everyone's affirming this delusion, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? So why wouldn't this poor confused child believe they're in the wrong body and then want to remove healthy body parts? Like that should be a criminal offence. Like, again, the left will say children don't get given puberty blockers or surgeries, but I've seen plenty of 14, 13-year-olds who've had the breast removed. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think a child can consent to any of that. Yeah. Knowingly.
I think the crazy thing is I remember seeing a video and they were walking around saying, they were interviewing different people in the street, and they said, should a child be able to choose their sex at birth? If so, could they then like take hormone blockers when they were 13 years old? I think they gave them like I think it was 13. Said, can a child take puberty blockers as 13-year-old? It's like, yeah, like they should be able to choose. Like they're old enough to like make their own decisions at that point. This, that, and the other. And like, all right, should a 13-year-old be able to have a tattoo? Yeah. And they're just like, no, because it's a decision that's permanent for the rest of the life. And it's like, hold on a fucking beat. What are you talking about?
It's the same brainwash sort of cultural Marxism again, in my opinion. Yeah.
I think one of the scariest things, so I was watching a YouTube video of a barrister talk about this bill, and he was breaking it down from an expert lens of like, the wording of the bill, and he basically like said that the biggest red herring for him was the wording of it, is that, coercion, for example, like, anything could be deemed as coercion or like psychological damage. Taking a phone off a child could be deemed psychological damage, like by just simply saying you're not having your phone, and that's
giving a child a phone, psychological damage.
Exactly, like whereas that was his point of like any parent could do anything, and with that bill being so wide open, it can be like attacked from any angle. Oh well, you did that, and that's psychologically damaging to your child. Oh, you did that, like you took pocket money off them, you're coercing them, or like whatever you're doing, like. And I just thought like that is unbelievable how you're taking away sort of autonomy of the parent to the point where they can't even make the decisions about their own child anymore.
Well, it's probably just as much of a deterrent, isn't it, for them? Like a lot more kids now, because again, when we look at the transgender stuff, the data suggests that it's mostly autistic kids, and autism is vastly on the rise, isn't it? Yeah. I know why. One of the main reasons anyway. So we're seeing a lot more kids who are neurodivergent. There's a lot more endocrine disruptors in the water, in the food. So there's a biological effect here that creates gender confusion. Then we're programming them into it. Then we're making it cool, and then we're threatening the parents. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen amongst young impressionable people? Like, it's like a subculture. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what it is. I don't even see how it's connected to the lesbian, gay and bi movements. Yeah. One's sexuality, one's got nothing to do with sexual orientation. Yeah. It's completely made up thing. Do you know what I mean?
I think I think a big shame. Like I remember watching the What Is a Woman documentary, and I'd say this is not the majority, but there's a minority of transgenders that are saying like it's not appropriate, like you shouldn't do it, especially those that have done it and say it's a massive regret. For example, there's a person on the documentary who runs a charity trying to get it's not necessarily it's detransitioning,
supporting detransitioners.
Yeah, it's supporting detransitioners, but also like trying to get people to rethink what they're doing, because it's like it's a permanent decision for a temporary sort of lapse of judgment because you're a child. Yeah. And I just think it's a massive shame. Like a lot of them, like I've seen even Piers Morgan, he's done interviews with transgender people, and a lot of the time, like they're actually on board with like normal ideas and saying like it is a mistake, and I am mentally ill, or I've got a mental illness, and I've this and that, and for me that's absolutely fine. Like if you're an adult and you want to do what you want to do, then that's fine. Yeah. But don't start purporting onto children saying that it's normal for children to be doing it. If you're a 25-year-old person and you decide you want to become a woman, and you've got the money to do it, and you're not using taxpayer funds and all that type of stuff, go and do what you got to do to be happy in life. But don't try and get my child reading transgender books at school to sort of skew their mind into thinking that that this is what you could be, or this is what you should be, or I think it's crazy. Like I think you sent me a video of a teacher in a primary school saying like he was reading a book to them, and then he said like, do you remember when we were reading this book, like what was the name of the character in the book that did what were they? And they were like, they're transgenders. And he goes, what would you say if I was a transgender? And he tells them it, and it was weird, because I thought, he's like almost seeking like approval from a fucking 6-year-old or however old them kids were. I thought, just weird, like.
And again, not everyone in that group is the same, are they? So I can't remember who I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm quoting someone. Might be Billboard Chris or someone. But there seems to be 3 core groups within the trans ideology.
Right.
We've got the sort of non-conforming gender stereotypes who say I'm trans, I'm non-binary. They're often young, pink hair, going through a phase, and just often on the spectrum. Then you've got people like Blair White, if you've seen her, she's like a right-wing commentator. Who've gone through all the surgery, or look really feminine. You'd believe they're the opposite sex. So they've kind of done the female to male or male to female. Yeah. So where we that's where we can probably rationalise it more, because they just want to be the opposite. So you've got them. You've got the ones that just said they were like, don't want to be either or. They want to be on the spectrum. Anywhere but either end they want to be. If they want to be a mix of the two. And then you've got the autogynephilics, which are often like, you see these middle-aged men. I'll send you some of these videos, but like this woman's great. She's going around, stops. Hey, are you trans? Yeah, they're always trans. They're like 40, 50. They still look heavily masculine. Almost like, see all the stubble. They don't look anything like women. These just like middle-aged men who've dressed up, and they all identify as lesbians now. Now in America, in Australia, there was a thing recently where one of them won in court because he'd been booted off a lesbian dating site, and the person who owned the lesbian dating site had to pay them like 95 grand.
Right, come on.
Oh, it's just absurd. So like, I'll send you this Instagram page because it's diabolical. Got all these men not only parading as women, but parading as lesbians. Like, lesbians are sexual orientation. It's not a fad to just jump on. It's how we even having this conversation. It's nuts. No, but when we look at the fall of empires, if you look like the fall of Rome, I think nothing new happens under the sun, right? So I think all these things are being used like cyclical. It's a cycle. The immigration stuff, like, none of it's an experiment. It's all been done before, and I think they know it destroys like what's the backbone of a good civilization?
Like a culture.
Good men, good women, men who work hard and provide, women who nurture and raise families. I'm not saying that if you don't fit that bill, you should be excluded or there's something wrong with you. But what we don't need to do is vilify what's worked for centuries. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just bonkers, isn't it? Right?
So you're talking about the destruction of the nuclear family, like I mentioned before, but like, what has the destruction of the nuclear family done to the world? Like, obviously, just extend on what you were saying then, but then also like, why is there an attack on the nuclear family?
Where is it happening? Is it happening in Africa?
Yeah.
Is it happening in the Middle East?
Yeah.
It's only happening in the Western world.
Why just the West?
Because we're the ones who need to be brought down a peg. We're the ones who've got advanced civilization. At the minute, still sort of an economy left, even though it's hanging off on a knife edge. So I think the globalists, they need to subdue Western culture and Western, prosperity. Like, you look at Poland, I believe they do tax breaks the more kids you have. If you get to 4 kids, I think it is, you don't pay any income tax at all.
I think somewhere like Norway does that as well.
So that's a country that's trying to build its own, its own sense of national identity. Like, and then you look at the West, and we're making it unavoidable for the native population who are going to work. In many cases, we're making it unaffordable for them. Meanwhile, we're bringing in, like, again, this is, I know these are isolated cases for now, but they're still worth talking about. I've seen multiple videos of men coming into the country, foreign men, got multiple wives. Each one's got a house. There's maybe 12 to 16 kids amongst the 3 wives. And all of that's on the taxpayer's head. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's being done very carefully so that it doesn't work out well for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've just scrapped the 2-child benefit cap, haven't they, not too long ago. so now you can claim for third, fourth, fifth kids, which again I agree with. But you know, most native
most
families
actual national Britons aren't
having more than 2 kids, so that's actually going to benefit migrants more than native people. Again, nothing on I don't blame the migrants for coming here and exploiting the system. Do you know what I mean? Why wouldn't they? It's still a better life for them. I can't fault them for that. But why are we setting it up in a way where we're setting up to fail? Surely it's pretty obvious that foreign interests run our government. Criminal cartels run Western Europe and the wider world. I think they've already got a global governance system, but they're changing it. They're knocking down an empire to build a new one.
Yeah, because I think you're even seeing it in terms of jobs as well. So I want to kind of talk about a little bit about the jobs, because I know you sent me quite a few videos on like specific jobs in the UK and how we're kind of getting overrun in our own country of like not being able to get jobs. But a big thing that we have a problem with is like obviously the DEI side of things. So just from a plain perspective, say if you have a job, let's say like bricklaying or whatever, do you always think that there should be an equal number of men and women in each job?
No, that's just ridiculous. Like, it's all good when it suits the women. Yeah, you must have seen some of the good stuff about, like, I'm not going to be out campaigning that we need more women bricklayers next week.
Yeah.
We don't need more women bricklayers, and we don't need more male nurses. Do we have women bricklayers? I'm sure we do. Do we have male nurses? We do. Do they do a great job? I'm sure they do. But it's not because of a lack of opportunity. It's because men and women are different, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean we don't have outliers. You can still have tomboys and feminine men, but men and women are different, and we take to different roles better, and that's just like common sense. Like, now that's another bigoted statement apparently, like, but we're just running away with fantasy, aren't we?
Do you not think we need more female firefighters now?
Probably more trans, disabled, black, indigenous, lesbian firefighters, yeah. But that's how ridiculous it's getting, isn't it? Did you ever see them? There was a few videos going around. It's a party in Canada, and like they had victim cards essentially. Did you see it?
No.
Oh, it was so funny. And they were like butting in front of each other, and they were like, "No, I'm trans, I'm black, so I'm in front of you." Oh, I'll have to send you it. It's funny. Is
this like a rally or what?
It's like a political
sphere.
Get together. Do you know what I mean? They're all part of a political party, but they can't get nowhere because they're all fighting over who's the most oppressed. Essentially, that's what wokeism is, isn't it? It's just a scale of oppression, and the idea is the more oppressed you are, the better. So it's like a competition of who's the most oppressed. But yeah, no, I find that hilarious. There was that other stat recently as well. You're probably going to mention this, but 27-1 was it or something on foreign nationals?
I've not seen this.
Oh, do you want to just get it up so I'm not butchering the stats? But
so foreign nationals doing what?
Taking jobs at a rate of 27-1.
Really?
Get Google it if you don't mind, please, Reece. I don't want to butcher it.
Because I was going through Welsh, like I was going through stats for England and Wales. So I'll go through the Wales first. A few of the ones that like some of the videos you sent me, I had a look at. So around 400 Welsh nurses were trained as midwives or as standard nurses. Reported they had no guaranteed NHS Wales jobs after qualifying in 2026. Meanwhile, 500 Indian medical professionals were given jobs instead. So just to put that into perspective, there's only 21,000 Indians in the country, which is 0.7% of the population of Wales, compared to white British, Welsh women, which is 94%. So that means that they must either be given all the jobs to the 0.4% or importing them in to take the jobs. The Welsh even have an anti-racist action plan. This is a belter. So the Welsh government has a target of 20% of new employees being from an ethnic minority, whereas in their population, ethnic minorities only take up 6%. So that's almost like over a threefold on the percentages of how many they have to how many saying they deserve jobs. And then another scheme where they pay $5,000 to ethnic students who want to be teachers, money which isn't available if the students are white.
Yeah, it's just hilarious. I was going through racism, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like literally blatant racism. So that's in Wales. But then I thought, I wonder if England have like something like this, and I found some belters. So in the UK, MI5 and Government Communication HQ paid internships often exclude white British applicants. NHS leadership roles are prioritised by ethnicity. Metropolitan Police promotions specifically for black officers only. Not only, but you're more promoted if you're promoted more if you're black. You've got a higher likelihood. And then it goes even to a university level as well. So universities such as Bristol, Lancaster and Open University offered £7,000 scholarships, full fees plus £9,000 bursaries, and entire degrees paid for people identifying as black. And then there was also the labour trade deal with India. So labour struck a deal where Indian migrant workers don't need to pay national insurance, but instead would have to pay into the Indian Provident Fund if they hired an Indian person. So, for example, say you're hiring an engineer on 80k a year. For a Brit, you would have to pay around £11,200 a year in national insurance, versus if you took the Indian employee instead, you'd only have to pay roughly about £1,470 into the Indian Provident Fund. So you'd literally be spending £10,000.
Yeah, so they're incentivising you to employ foreigners, aren't they?
10k cheaper a year to hire an Indian over a British national. So going back to what you said a minute ago, so foreign nationals make up roughly 19% of the UK employees, with overall non-UK employment rates standing at 76.1 compared to 75.2 for British nationals. Recent data highlights distinct trends in how migrant and native workforces grow, particularly driven by non-EU workers.
This was a big thing that was doing the rounds. Did you type in 27 to 1?
So the 27 to 1 ratio
for young people.
So the 27 to 1 ratio refers to a finding that 27 young non-EU migrants were hired for every additional young British employee on non-UK payrolls between 2020 and 2025. Jesus, this statistic comes from
HMRC.
Yeah, HMRC. Yeah.
So for every one young person, like 16 to 21, who gets a job, 27 non-EU migrants get a job.
That is fucking
That is
wild.
absurd, isn't it? Is that not like? Does that not tell you what's going on? And again, look at all these institutions here: the police, the civil service, MI5. So these are the institutions that essentially run the country, teach our young people, and again, they're being prioritised to foreign nationals. It just makes no sense unless you know what the agenda is. Then it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So like again, deep dive. You touched on it a little bit before, but why are so many, like foreign nationals or ethnic minorities getting jobs over UK citizens?
Because they want to destroy it. We're destroying our own population. But it's a managed decline of our own civilization. Like, the globalists have decided Europe's time is over, the West's time's over. They're going to collapse that empire and build a new one. They've been doing it for centuries, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And now they're going to create a new empire, probably in the Middle East. Greater Israel Project, which used to be called a conspiracy theory. Now it's not. Now it's an accepted ideology. So I think that's going to be run from the Euphrates to the Nile. How long this will take, I don't know, but by then there'll be a much more advanced AI global sort of governance base there, and the rest of the world will be fighting amongst themselves. Do you know what I mean? Living in poverty. That's what I think. That's what I think they're doing anyway.
I think one thing that when I was looking into the DEI thing of what you were sending over was that the DEI in the police. So how much money they were spending on police funds.
Insane.
So I'll just go through that. So a policy exchange report estimated that British policing incurred 631 million in DEI related costs since May 2020. Wow. So broken down into 431 million in police staff time spent on training and related activity, 177 million on dedicated inclusion posts. Like, I don't even know what that means. And 23 million pounds on consultants. So this averaged over 6 years. The report says that money could have funded roughly 2,000 additional frontline officers each year since. Wow. So 631 million spent on DEI alone in the police.
So basically vilifying white people. That's what DEI is. It's basically a way to attack the native population a bit.
Well, it's inherently racist by saying it's trying to combat racism. It's saying that obviously we're trying to get more minorities in, but there's not enough minorities of them in the population to even apply to the same level of jobs. Yeah, it's not representative,
is it?
Yeah, it's not representative at all.
No, they want to over-represent.
Yeah, if there's 60% British people or British white people in the UK, you'd expect to see 60% in the police. Same as if there's 5%.
Or more.
Or more, yeah. Or more, yeah.
I remember he's a Scottish MP. I think I've sent you it. He's complaining that there's too many white people in jobs. like in the courts and the police, and it's like, mate, imagine going to Japan and being like, there's too many Japanese people sick of this, or going to Pakistan and going, look around, no white people anywhere. Like, could you imagine? Like, even to me, some of it didn't sound that bad, but then as soon as you go, hang on, would I go to somewhere else and expect the same? No, wouldn't. That's ludicrous. So you think, why have I been like manipulated to think that this is normal?
It's like going to Dubai thinking that you can go walk around the streets drinking. Like,
no,
I wouldn't go there.
Go there in respect.
Yeah, I wouldn't go over there and start cracking a beer open in the street.
I don't think in a place like Dubai you can never vote. Over here we've got people who've been charged for terrorism. There was a guy in Birmingham who ran for councillor who'd like been convicted for trying to bomb the English embassy. Like, it's a joke. It's hard to even, like I say, this is why I'm worried that I might leave the UK. I've got an Aussie passport, but I'm worried it's going to be the same there. Do you know what I mean?
I think it'll be the same. It'll be the same, but in just 10 years. Like, I don't think they're quite on us, because all that's happened is it's bled over from America into, like, it's got here. Like, I remember saying to my parents a long time ago, this whole transgender thing. I remember seeing the documentary, and it hadn't quite happened yet. You'd heard a few things, and I remember saying to my parents, literally, like, I wonder when it'll hit the UK. It was 2 months before I seen my first one, and then I've seen multiple since, and now it's normal. When you walk in the streets, you know, it's just normalised completely, and I think it's just becoming like, you can't handle it. Almost like it's becoming unmanageable. But in terms of like the police, like, to spend over £500 million on DEI when there's so much crime going on, so many stabbings, so many like murders on the loose, or whatever's happening, like, why do you think they're prioritising DEI so much over actually catching criminals?
What I said before, mate, is everything's just controlled by this agenda, so they're not worried. Like I say, who's meant to protect us? The police, the courts, the government. They're bringing illegal, unvetted men in. Between 2022 and 2024, 11,000 immigrants had an age dispute. 40% were found to be adults who were claiming to be children. Now, sometimes these are given to social services. I shared a video of an African man saying he was 15. He was older than me. And the staff in the Home Office going, just got to send him social services, haven't you? He absconded the next day, and they don't know where he went. But, you know, I remember that LBC News, I think I mentioned it on the last podcast as well, but this woman phoned up saying she used to house children. She's had to stop because they're bringing her like 35-year-old Syrians, going, yeah, he's 17. No, I can't have him in here. I've got like 12-year-old girls.
Yeah, it's just dangerous.
Like, I've got 7 bedrooms with 6 actual kids in, and now I've got to put a grown Syrian man in there, and like the people dropping him off, like, I know he's a fella, like, but he said he's a kid. And it's like, where's your morality? Where's your integrity? People are just so happy to just conform. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They're so righteous with these ideologies, but the second they've got to stand up and be counted, everyone just blows over. So yeah, that's why I think nothing's designed to work. That's why we're in a managed decline. It's working as it's meant to. It's dysfunctional on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've literally the country's being invaded by unvetted men. We don't know who they are, and yet the police are more concerned about, like, you know, putting pride stickers on the police cars. Like, it's just nuts.
What are your thoughts about obviously everything that happened with the England flag? Like, when people putting Great British flags up, or
yeah, it's flags? Just more of the same, isn't it? Self-loathing. Like, I used to be very anti, like, because what you've got to remember is there's 2 things going on here, isn't he? You've got the ruling elite. So when I say we, I don't say we about them anymore. They're them. We's us. So they went and pillaged other countries, and all right, obviously, you know, British men and women supported the movement, but it's their idea and they're the benefactors. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy to still be patriotic for us and what we've built and our communities and our values and what we've achieved. That doesn't mean I need to, like, align myself with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can look at that flag now and it doesn't represent the British crown to me. It represents the British people. So I'm not against it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you'll see, like, I seen a video today that Raised the Colours fella, Ryan, is it? One of the Liberals is like, a woman's like having an argument with him, and I think a migrant guy comes over, or someone who's got foreign heritage and just goes like, what's wrong with it? He's like, nice one, mate, shakes his hand or whatever, and he's just like, it's the fucking England flag. How can you have a problem with the England flag in England? And it's just, but it's all part of this like culture wars, isn't it? Like while we're all distracted with all these culture wars, no one can spot the decay.
Yeah.
The birth rates are collapsing, mass immigration's going through the roof. You know, family units on the decline. It's becoming unaffordable to have a family, and none of these are the talking points. The talking points are like how many pronouns we need to have, or how many genders, or you know how racist anyone is who's putting a flag up. It's, I don't know, it's just I mean, it's very clever, and I can see why it all works very well, and it's working.
It's like smoke and mirrors, isn't it? Like
it's all smoke and mirrors, mate. Yeah.
Do you think Andy Burnham can save us? What are your thoughts on Andy Burnham?
I reckon anyone who's been on the World Economic Forum website is not going to save you. You're going to get more of the same. So he was on the World Economic Forum page.
For those people who don't know,
the World Economic Forum. It's when you watch it, it's like it's a skit. Yeah. It's like it's satire. Like they sit around. Have you seen some of the videos? They talk about us in complete contempt. They talk about how they're going to basically destroy us.
Yeah, control us.
It's bad. Have you seen the one where they're talking about the ticks and giving us meat allergies? They want us off meat so bad.
I've heard about it.
Well, now it's a thing, isn't it? Yeah. Reece, will you just Google that, what it's called? Tick allergies to meat. And then have you seen all the ticks being released everywhere?
Yeah.
By Bill Gates. I think this is another thing that puts me off Rupert is like the support of Elon. Like I question everything. I think the likes of Elon and Bill Gates, have said this on the last podcast, they're all frontmen to these agendas.
So the tick that makes you allergic to meat is the Lone Star tick, which causes alpha-gal syndrome. This condition is an allergy to a sugar molecule found in mammals. So the culprit, the Lone Star tick, identified by a white dot on the female's back, injects a sugar molecule called alpha-gal into the skin. So the affected foods, red meat like beef, pork, lamb, and sometimes dairy products or gelatin, chicken, turkey, and fish remain safe. Delayed reaction symptoms usually start 2 to 6 hours after eating, unlike fast food allergies.
There's been a death to this now. I think the first man's died. Just put death, see if it mentions it. I'm sure it was like a Frenchman or someone died anyway.
'Cause this is happening in the US, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's not
but it's... I'm sure there's been one death. They were saying it's like the first death of a meat allergy.
Symptoms, no, it doesn't say.
Yeah,
anything.
so there's one documented fatal case, but they really want rid of meat. Another thing why like Rupert is he's a farmer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he talks about like the poison in the food, and he sounds like he wants us to have a proper food system. Do you know what I mean? But that is one of the agendas, is to get us off animal products. I had a few years of buying into all this like ages ago, 7-8 years ago, but I've done a complete 180 on it. I think we should definitely be eating animal products. These just should be well sourced.
Yeah, of course, organic.
Do you know what I mean?
So what are your actual thoughts on Andy Burnham then? Obviously you said...
I just think he's another actor, another puppet. He's an Evertonian. I'd love to be sitting here going, oh, we've got a toffee in Downing Street, but he's just another Marxist. Yeah. I've seen interviews of him talking about digital IDs, mass vaccinations. He's for all that. He thinks men dressed as women should be given full autonomy to use whatever space they like. So yeah, he's very much in line with all those extreme left ideologies that we just talked about. I think he's a globalist. He works for foreign interests. That's what I think about Andy Burnham. He's definitely a World Economic Forum puppet.
Yeah.
Most of them are though. They constantly brag how they basically penetrated all the European cabinets now. So yeah, he's one of them. Defo.
So obviously we're talking about a lot of problems, like, you know, we've identified a lot of problems, but what are some of the solutions? What do you think the everyday Brit can do to start fixing the UK? Or do you think there's even anything they can do?
I think it's like everything starts at home, doesn't it? So looking in the mirror, how are we living our lives? Like, that's where it starts. Like, community. Are you part of a community? Are you giving back to your community? Humans can't be self-sustaining. No. The community-sustained animals, or whatever you want to call it. We're social species, mate. So I think, like, we want to make Liverpool a strong city. I'm part of a networking group called the 100 Club, and it's a great thing to be part of. It's like, it is targeted at men. There are some women involved, but it's mostly a men's group. And at the last meeting, some really big businessmen in there as well, some really successful businessmen. But between the guys was dead impressed with this. They've come up with something called LECI, and it was like the Liverpool Electricity Cooperative Initiative or something like that, right?
And of course they've made
I was quite into the idea. So what they were saying is like, and again I agree with this, if you look at how they manipulate the global economy, they do it with oil and energy prices. If energy goes up, everything goes up. Yeah. Everything's less affordable. And so they've done a presentation between the lads, and I was dead impressed with it. But they talked about, like, let's say we go to all the businesses in the UK and we get them to sign up, and then this LECI organisation, which is community owned, I do believe the lads will pull this off, but they're gonna try and make it a collective project. Let's say we get 500 businesses to sign up, right? And they all save however much each year. We take 25% of the savings that we get them. So we don't ask them for no money. We just save them 75. We just give them 75% of the savings that we get. The 25% goes into this fund. And then over time, like, they had multiple speakers at the event to explain this in better details than I am, but I'm going to do my best. But over time, you use that money, and then within the group, there's some of the lads have got council spots now for reform, and we're always trying to get more. Whether it doesn't matter what party you're left or right, we're just trying to get more people within the group as councillors, so we can have more pull with the council for the right reasons. Because again, you know, we might not be able to affect global politics or even national politics, but if you get a few council seats, you can certainly do something locally, can't you? And that's where it all starts. So anyway, imagine you had all this money going into this fund, and then what you start doing is, like, they had different projects or different technologies, like solars and wind turbines. Let's say you pick a couple of streets in Speke, you pick like 10 roads, you use the money, you put a solar panel on every lamppost and a wind turbine, and then you keep, like in Liverpool, I think we've got the highest energy prices in the country, and then the country's the highest in the world. So right now in Liverpool, we've got the highest fucking energy prices anywhere, really. Yeah. What does that do for business? It puts it off. So imagine we done one of them projects, and now you've got your own energy that you can either sell back to the grid or sell it to the local population for much cheaper. And then that generates more income, and you just keep doing the same year on year. And before you know it, you can build something in the River Mersey that creates even more energy. So this was all about creating a sovereign city. And obviously the most important thing is energy production. So it's things like that. Yeah. But I think what people need to realise is, if we don't do something about what's going on, it's going to consume us. And again, that's why I like Restore Britain, because it feels like, to me, it's a genuine grassroots movement, not just a political party. Like I said, I'm open to being wrong. I know a lot of people think Rupert's racist. I don't see that. His son married a Libyan girl, didn't he? And they had halal food, and everyone says it to me like, "Oh, got you there," and it's like, yeah, because he's not racist. It's like, and he said in a recent interview, he's not a far right ethno-nat or neo-Nazi, and like some of the people on the right were fuming about it, and like, oh, he's sold out, he's foreign owned or whatever, and it's like, well, no, I'm not either. Like that's kind of what I want to hear. Do you know what I mean? Like I've told, like my gym is a multicultural environment. Like when I'm in my gym, it probably reflects society that is like ethnic minorities, Muslims, and I don't want that to change. I like it. Do you know what I mean? I'd never want that to change. But if you go too far with it, then it's just not even. But I don't think it's right, but it's not even achievable. You're asking to go from here to here. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to live in a pure white society. That's not what I'm interested in. I just want to live in prosperity. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think people can bring net positives to the country. I don't mean financially. You can get net positives from people if they're well vetted and you bring the right people in. Not all people are equal, are they? But we're equal in the image of God or whatever. We're created equal, but not every person's got the same level of ambition. Not every person's got the same level of morality
or intentions.
So we're not all equal, and we shouldn't pretend we all are. We are in the image of God. We're all created equally, but you know, we should live in a society that's a meritocracy. Everything should be based on merit. We don't need DEI. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
so just be a meritocracy. Who's the best for the job? You shouldn't even put your ethnicity on a job application, should you? That should be illegal.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? Like, if that's how they want to stop racism, like, that'd probably be a better way to do it, not by forcing anti-white policies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've not applied for a job in a very long time, but I remember when I first applied for jobs like six or 7 years ago. I remember seeing a lot of it was female only, and then BAME used to be like black Asian minority ethnic group or whatever. Yeah. I remember seeing that a lot, and back then it confused me a lot. I'm there thinking, what the fuck is this? But I actually don't know what it's like now. Like, but from the stats and from what you read and stuff like that, it sounds like it's exactly the same.
Now we'll be asking you what your preferred pronouns are. Like, no, but it's just this escalation, isn't it, of confusing us?
Yeah. So like just before we round off, like obviously everything we've talked about, I was watching a video the other day about that Andrew Tate, like, you know, because everything we're talking about, people calling it the Matrix, you know, like you're in the Matrix, you're getting controlled by different forces way above you. And him and Charlie Kirk have been one of recent times who have like a lot of people have come out and said that they were killed or they were set up by the Matrix. So in terms of Andrew Tate, do you think that he has been set up by the Matrix? And then same with the Charlie Kirk, do you think he was killed by the Matrix?
I feel like the Charlie Kirk thing wasn't a real assassination.
Right. How so? What do you mean?
I just think it was staged. And I think potentially, I don't know, but Andrew Tate is either being set up or he's just another puppet of the show. I don't know. I wish I weren't, but I'm like, I think they call it black pill, don't they? Where you think most things are just like, it's hopeless.
Well, to be fair, I don't think Charlie Kirk was killed by who they said he was killed by. Is that what you're saying?
I don't even think he was killed.
Really?
I think he was alive. I think he left there alive, probably laughing in the car. Did you not see how they all like carried him off? And
I mean, but
I just think it's like, I think the globalists fuel both sides of everything, and they use like people like Charlie to, you know, be the controlled opposition, even though he speaks a lot of sense. I might be totally wrong. I don't know. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to give anything like you trust. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I've been very torn about even getting involved with politics. Potentially, I might run as a councillor myself next year, just because, like, if not us, who? Do you know what I mean? And I am someone who is happy to speak up and say things that other people find uncomfortable, not from a place of hate, from a place of wanting open dialogue. Do you know what I mean? I treat people with respect.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I had that Cal Cashman on, the Lib Dem guy, and we agreed on that. Like I said, he made the point, and I agreed with it, of like, a lot of the time when people are politicians or people that are trying to run in a position of leadership or power, it shouldn't come from a place where they've like sort of been gifted it. It should come from usually a place of where they didn't really want it, but like you said, if not who, then if not, well, how did you put that? Sorry, if not
me, then who?
Then who? Yeah, it came from that. I remember like Winston Churchill. That's how he became prime minister. He never wanted the job. Like he literally didn't want it. Like, but obviously he's seen the way the Nazis were. He's seen what Chamberlain was doing and stuff, and he said, like, you know, I just had to do something. And I'm not saying that is always how it has to be, but that's the only leadership that I'd ever want, is like someone who sees it as a burden. But like Trump, like, he doesn't really want it, does he? But he's kind of like, for me,
you look, all of these characters, I think, are actors that you've framed in there. From Churchill right
but
up
I always think that it should be almost deemed as if, like, you know, like you said, like you just said, then if not me, then who? I think that's a good way to sort of know that
I'm hoping that guy's Rupert Lowe, and again,
he said the same thing, to be fair, didn't he?
He said something similar. I'm hoping that that's the case, but again, I'm well up for him being another actor. It's possible. I think that's how rigged the game is and how long this has been going on, and how well they've got it subverting our politicians, our institutions, our media. It's just all, it's all in cahoots, basically. Control. Do you know what I mean? It's very hard to trust anything.
So what is next for you, and where can people find you?
Yeah, so we need to get back into the cage before Christmas. PFL's just done a big merger with MVP Promotions, so that's obviously a big thing for PFL and MVP. Might fight October time, hopefully, bit of luck. But yeah, I'm still running my gym, running my college program, trying to get my head round grassroots politics and trying to understand more about that and how that works. And I am involved with the Restore Britain sort of branches in Liverpool. Again, though, like I keep saying, I'm sorry to keep saying it, but I'm open-minded to that somewhere being connected. But the idea here is just to get a grip of it locally. Do you know what I mean? So we can support local people. So that's what's most important to me.
Yeah, just be seen doing something.
I'd rather just try.
Yeah,
if it all goes tits up and I leave the UK for a better life somewhere else, at least I can look at my kids and say, oh, I did try. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I think it's exactly the same as what I've experienced. I've always been apolitical. I've just never because I'm a trust guy. Like I have to trust someone in order to vote. I can't just vote and be like, oh well, I guess so. Like I need to have some level of trust. What that sort of threshold is, I'm not too sure on. But even the last 2 years, I said to you off camera, like before, like the last 2 years, I just look around and think, like you said, if not me, then who? Like if I'm not going to do, how can I complain about things if I'm not even trying to impact something or change something or vote for something or whatever. And I feel like a lot of people, like I've talked to a lot of people in the last 2 years, obviously with the podcast off it and getting people's opinions in it. I think people are exactly in the same boat. I think there's going to be more people voting than ever for this next general. Yeah, I've not met anyone who said, "Oh, I'm not voting." Like I've had that a lot in the past. Me being one of them. But you've been a pleasure as always, Dean. I hope next time we have a podcast that it'll be under better circumstances. But the trajectory is not looking too great. But always a pleasure.
I just think the important thing is conversations, and that's why I want to come in and talk today. Just like these are issues that I'm worried about day to day. I'm worried about my community. Do you know what I mean? And I just think the more people talk about it, and the less we make these subjects taboo, as long as we can like rationalise people's intentions. I've got no bad intentions. Like I'd help anyone, to be honest. I just think we still have to be smart. We still have to be realistic. We still have to be pragmatic. Do you know what I mean? We still have to be objective. It'd be great if we could just, have a utopia and everyone's even and, everyone's great and everyone's looked after. But unfortunately, I don't think the world's ever going to work like that. Not in our lifetimes anyway. Yeah. And I think for now, let's try and fill our cup back up, because we can't help no one else you can't give them an empty cup. And right now, Britain's cup is just diminishing quick. So I'll leave it on that.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dean. I really appreciate your time.